Israel sends tanks to West Bank for first time as it deepens crackdown. Israeli tanks moved into the occupied West Bank on Sunday for the first time in decades in what Palestinian authorities called a dangerous escalation after the defense minister said troops will remain in parts of the territory for a year and tens of thousands of Palestinians who have fled cannot return. Associated Press journalists saw several tanks move along unpaved tracks into Jenin, along a bastion of armed struggle against Israel. Sorry. Israel is deepening its crackdown on the Palestinian territory and has said it is determined to stamp out of militancy amid a rise in attacks. It launched the offensive in the northern West Bank on January 21st, 2 days after the current ceasefire in Gaza took hold and has expanded it to nearby areas. Palestinians view such raids as part of an effort to cement Israeli control over the territory, where 3 million Palestinians live under military rule. The deadly raids have caused destruction in urban areas. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said he and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the military to increase the intensity of the activity to thwart terrorism in all refugee camps in the West Bank. We will not allow the return of residents and we will not allow terrorism to return and grow, he said. Earlier, Katz said he had instructed the military to prepare for an extended stay in some of the West Bank's urban refugee camps, from which he said about 40,000 Palestinians have fled, leaving them emptied of residents. That figure was confirmed by the United Nations. The camps are home to descendants of Palestinians who fled during wars with Israel decades ago. It was not clear how long Palestinians would be prevented from returning. Katz said Israeli troops would stay for the coming year. Netanyahu said they would stay as long as intended. Tanks were last deployed in the West Bank in 2002 when Israeli fought a deadly Palestinian uprising. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry called the Israeli moves a dangerous escalation of the situation in the West Bank and urged the international community in a statement to intervene in what it termed Israel's illegal aggression. Even if they stay, we will return to the camp at the end, said Mohammed Al Saadi, one of those displaced from Jenin. This camp is ours. We have no other place to go. With fighting in Gaza and Lebanon on hold, Netanyahu has been under pressure from far right governing partners to crack down on militancy in the West Bank. The UN says the current Israeli military operations is the longest since the Palestinian uprising of the early 2000s. Under the interim peace agreements from early 1990s, Israel maintains control over large parts of West Bank while the Palestinian Authority administers other areas. Israel regularly sends troops into Palestinian zones but typically withdraws them from them after missions. More than 800 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank since the war in Gaza erupted on October 7, 2023. With the Hamas attack on southern Israel, Israel says most were militants but stone-throwing youths protesting Israeli raids as well as bystanders have also been killed. In the most recent operation, a pregnant Palestinian woman was killed. Israel captured the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem in the 1967 Mid-East War. Palestinians want all three territories for their future independent state. The West Bank raids come at a sensitive time as the truce between Israel and Hamas in Gaza remains tenuous. A week is left in the ceasefire's first phase, and no negotiations have been reported on the second phase. The truce collapse could lead to renewed fighting in Gaza, where Netanyahu says 63 hostages remain, about half of them believed dead, including a soldier captured in 2014. We are ready to return to intense fighting at any moment, Netanyahu said Sunday. The military increased its operational readiness around Gaza. The US Special Envoy for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, told CNN he expects the second phase to go forward, adding, "We have to get an extension of phase 1, and so I'll be going to the region this week, probably Wednesday, to negotiate that." He told CBS he will visit Qatar, Egypt, Israel, and the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. But a senior Hamas leader, Mahmoud Mardawi, said Sunday the group will not engage in further discussions with Israel through mediators until Israel releases the 620 Palestinian prisoners meant to be freed on Saturday. Israel said early Sunday it was delaying the release until it gets assurances that Hamas stops what Israel calls humiliating handovers of hostages in staged ceremonies criticized by the US and the Red Cross as cruel. Meanwhile, Netanyahu faced a new criticism over the war while speaking at a military graduation, as he held up a picture of Shri Bibas and her young boys, Ariel and Kfir, whose remains were returned from Gaza last week. To demonstrate what we are fighting against, audience members called out shame and why didn't you save them? The Prime Minister didn't react. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you everyone. Bye.